Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation Podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 67. I'm a filmmaker living out in Los Angeles, California, and joining me today, another filmmaker, Jessica Brown.
Hello. Sorry.
No, all is well. Okay. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is such an honor.
Woo! No, happy to chat. It's been a little bit. Um, I was gonna just for a quick foundational intro. You are an actor,
Yes.
writer,
Yes.
director.
Yes.
How else should we what else for the people at home to understand a
Well,
little bit from the top.
I like to say I'm a Jessie of all trades. I will do screenwriting, acting, directing, producing, PA, editing. I would like to get more into Foley. I like the idea of creation of sounds. Um, and I wish I could do more with instruments and scoring. Uh, that just anything with sounds and music. I don't know if that's because of the whole mental spectrums of disabilities and all of that. Just sounds I just love, and I wish I could do more of that. But yeah, I'm a good person to have on set because I'm trained in just a little bit of everything.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the only thing you didn't mention there was visual effects and
Camera, I could put up a camera, I can shoot it, and I can hit record, and I wish I could do more with creativity. I just haven't had recent opportunities to kind of explore cinematography, if that makes
so I
sense.
mean everything that we just mentioned is a world of its own. So just the
Yes.
fact that you've dipped in so many pools, baskets, I don't know. Is yeah, I think it feels helpful for the writing side, for the directing side. It's all useful stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely think it helps people with communicating on set. Um, like even if you don't know cinematography or editing, if you have an idea and when you're trying to communicate to your team, you'll be able to convey your idea better because you have that foundation of experience.
For sure. So to begin here today, let's get a little bit of the Jessica Brown story. I know you're from Iowa.
Yes.
How long have you been in Los Angeles?
Ooh, starting to get fuzzy. Somewhere around 4 or 5 years.
Okay. All right.
California for about 12 to 15 years.
Okay, because you were in the Bay. All right.
Hmm.
Okay, so Jessica, where does your when did you get the bug to pursue film? And then I want to hear a little bit about the pre-film bug Jessica Phase 2 and what life was like and what your dreams were before film was discovered.
Well, I mean, okay, so my father is a screenwriter. So growing up, I would always see him at the desk writing or often just looking at the computer, trying to get that inspiration to kind of type away. So, and then my grandfather is a poet. There's always been that creativity in my family. Um, I, n- my first script that I tried was an attempt of Bloody Mary, but I didn't know how to spell Mary, so it was Bloody Murray. And that was it until about when I left high school. I did a little bit of pre-K teaching. That ended, and I didn't have anything holding me down in Iowa, so I literally packed my car and drove to the Bay and that in itself was an adventure.
Yeah, why to the Bay?
Well, so one of my high school friends moved to Pleasant Hill, and I had visited her a few times. And um, initially, I never even wanted to move to California. The idea of California just disgusted me for some reason, even though I never have ever been here. Just, I don't know what it was, but I came here and I loved it. Came back again. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna come here. And so uh, I told my friend that I was going to be moving to California and got to San Francisco. I had a spot lined up to move into. And when I got arrived into San Francisco, that location fell out. And so, first day in San Francisco, I was homeless. And I called my friend, and she said, "Come stay with me." And I stayed there for about a year and a half or two.
Oh, dang. Woo.
Yeah, right in her living room, they made a little spot for me. It was cozy.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
But being there, that's when I fell into Diablo Valley College. And while I was there, I fell into musical theater
Did
first.
you say you fell into college?
I literally, I don't know how I stumbled onto
Onto campus one day and you were just taking classes?
I can't even recall how I found that school. Like, I wish I could because it is an absolutely amazing school.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 3.5 years at the 2 year community college.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I started with musical theater, got the acting bug, and then that was in the summer. And then the fall, I had a full semester of film and theater classes. And uh, I did the student government. I was the web advisor for the student government as a whole, the interclub council representative for the film club and the dramatic club. Um, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, a lot going on for
um,
sure. A lot of experiences happening, it sounds like.
yes, helped produce the first film competition at Diablo Valley College.
That was like a festival kind of thing, or is a competition different than?
It is. Like, I feel like the festivals, you have like networking events and panels, and of course, the film competitions. This was just more all film screenings, and then they'd compete for the top prizes or
Okay, yeah, sounds more or less.
whatever.
Yeah, screening the films. Okay, cool.
Yeah. The second screening, I was nominated to be the festival chair, so that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, from there, just stopped going to college. No really rhyme or reason. But I still pursued filmmaking. At that time, it was my boyfriend and a close friend of ours. That was just all we would do is just make films.
Mm-hmm.
We did a Guinness attempt where we would produce the fastest feature from script to screen. We did that in about 11 days, technically 8 if you don't count the days that we stopped for my boyfriend at the time. His sister was getting married. So,
You took a break during your Guinness World Record attempt to go to a wedding,
yes.
and then you came back to resume the world record attempt. That's kind of
Yes.
funny.
But it sucks because I dropped the ball. I didn't realize that we would have to send the final product to Germany. And I didn't know how to figure out how to mail this box with I mean, at the time it was DVDs, not drop on WeTransfer and send it through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like a whole package, and I didn't know how to send it to them for it to be officially adjudicated.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So I guess okay, just to dig into the Guinness World Record thing,
mhm.
because I did read that in my research. Uh, so what what specific record were you guys going after, and what were the specifications? Because I know you describe it as like completion from script to screen of a film world record. So is that okay? What is that? You have to write the script from scratch and deliver a fully edited, fully scored, fully. So yeah, what's the minimum like? What are the specifications? I guess is more what I'm curious about.
So it was challenging because one of the rules was you had to have somebody that would not uh, directly gain anything from the project. Somebody had to be watching the entire process. And then so the film that we were trying to beat, I think they did theirs in like 15 days. And with them, they had the advantage. They had hundreds of people helping them pull this thing together. It didn't really make sense, but they did it in 11 days. So what we had to do was from the time that we hit go, we had to make an official sound that was the start of the competition. Going into it, we couldn't have any preconceived like scripts. And then,
You can't have any ideas in your brain.
I mean, I did. I had like little things to
Sure, sure.
explore.
Yeah, it's hard to manage that part of it, I'm sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then you did have to write a complete like from the beginning the script, and then just do the whole process of a feature film, from writing the script to producing it, and then the shooting it, and then you had to uh, screen it in a theater, and that would
And then send the DVD.
and then send everything in. Um, well, sorry, the screening ended it, but then send everything in.
Okay. Okay. If I may, my perspective. I'm just trying to cheat. I'm trying.
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out. You can poke the hole. It's just I just want to get this out of my system. So, I'm trying to imagine. Let's just say, talking up the camera that we shoot this podcast on. It rolls, infinitely, indefinitely. It's nice until the memory gets full or whatever. I don't have to hit cut at any point, and it just rolls, which is lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm imagining, cause I don't know, does it have to like a 90-minute full feature, or is that the idea? It has to be a minimum
Yes.
length.
Yes.
Okay. So here's what we do: is we have a Guinness person watching in the corner, and then we write out 90 pages of dialogue between two people in one room, and or just no dialogue. It's a two-page script, and the action description says a person sits in a room and mumbles nonsense for 90 minutes, and scene cut to black, feature film complete. And then we roll camera on the person, and they just roll for an hour and a half. You throw on some janky score. You throw on the sound. You don't even mix it. Like I'm just trying to see why that doesn't win. And then you just have a friend that has access to a theater, and you just put that up.
So, like, yes, that would totally do it.
Hmm.
But I always like to make things more difficult
Sure.
than they need to be. What we did was I was working at a public access station at the time, Berkeley Community Media. And what we did was I set up in their large studio, just a simple desk, and on live TV, I just started writing out a script. And what it was a anti-bullying script that took place in high school. And through the process, I was able to connect with somebody that had access to a school, so we were able to shoot some of the
Hmm.
key scenes at this school, and then we shot some at the Berkeley Community Media, and that was pretty much it. No, we shot at a park, and we had a cast of I think like 15 people, very minimal crew. And I remember on the screening day, we were running around the streets trying to get people to watch the film because that was also one of the requirements is to have an actual audience. So
Okay.
we were just running up and down the streets trying to find anybody to come watch this film. It was in Antioch. It was a cute little theater. The Three Stooges performed there, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. Um, yeah, it screened. I walked out of it because it was absolutely horrible.
Sure. Sure.
But it was an accomplishment that
Yeah.
we all achieved, and a bunch of us were strangers. Um, we did a casting call at the studio. We did different events to kind of showcase the event and the process at the studio. And I actually tried calling the theater, I think it was this year or last year, to see if they still had a copy of that DVD, and they don't.
Mm.
And I dropped out of conversation with the ex, and so he doesn't have the copy anymore. So somewhere, I feel like there's a copy of this movie just floating somewhere.
Okay. Yeah. Well, regardless, the experience is still with you. So,
Yes.
but not the film that you walked out of to rewatch to see.
Like, cause it was, I don't know. I
Mm,
like the story. I wish I could revamp the script and redo it.
No, I feel that. I look at my old stuff and I'm like, the Eddie now. What could he do with this? Like
Exactly.
that's those are fun thought experiments if at the least, and then ideally somebody gives you millions of dollars to redo it, that'd be kind of fun too.
Man.
That'd be fun. Okay. All right. So that's all out in the bay, right? Okay.
All
So
in the bay.
what brought you what was a bridge down to Los Angeles? How did you end up getting here?
Oh, so we're gonna change the tone a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
I was living in Vallejo, California, and while I was there, I didn't do so much film. I got more into the political scene and the cannabis scene. Um,
Okay.
yeah. um, also, but I did attempt to open a studio while I was there. So there was that. That was film.
Yeah, it's okay to detour from. Yeah, or maybe at the time it wasn't a detour. That was the new plan. Like I don't. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to. Yeah,
It was definitely a forced change of plan to come to LA because I was really wanting to establish an indie film presence in Vallejo. Um, I started the Vallejo Filmmakers Network, which is now the California Filmmakers Network. I started that there.
oh, nice.
Um, I had produced two film competitions while I was living there. Horror Halloween thing that took place at the um, I don't even remember. Oh, Nightmare Island film competition at the Nightmare Island Halloween event, and um, I guess this I try to say this lightly because I don't want to make anybody mad.
Sure.
um, there wasn't a lot of room for indie. I just say there wasn't a lot of room for me. I had big goals, big ambitions, and I was very vocal in the community. And they don't, in that city, they don't really welcome people like me.
I feel what you're saying.
Um,
Okay, so you didn't feel welcome in the community that you helped establish.
I felt like they literally chased me out of there.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I,
So
oof,
the opposite of welcome,
yeah,
unwelcome.
it was, I don't know how to explain it because in the city, I can't say that word. A majority of the people are seniors, Caucasian, um, but it is a mixed community. I will say that it is a diverse, but the people that run the city are predominantly Caucasian and older male. And there was a major studio that came into Vallejo that kind of just took every opportunity that I was trying to create, they implemented it. And because they were a major studio, people had more trust with them.
Yeah, they just had more resources, more support, all the, yeah, sure.
And um, on the side of it, being vocal about the issues that was happening within the community, such as the homelessness and the mental illnesses that was going around, and suicides. Um, I had spoken out to the city council members about how they were treating the people within the city, and the manager for the city council in turn called the police and filed a false self harm report. And uh, in the evening, the police showed up at my house. They asked if I was going to do anything to myself, and I had the flu. I was watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I was, even though I was miserable, feeling miserable, I was quite content.
Hmm.
Um, but the police charged at me. They handcuffed me. They shoved me into the police car. Didn't even tell me what was going on. When they were putting me into the police car, I saw the manager's name for the city council. So I, connecting the pieces, knew what was going on. But it's scary because if you know Vallejo, they are a very scandalous city.
My only experience is Six Flags.
Mm. Eh, I mean, if you've ever wanted political corruption ideas for story, research Vallejo.
Copy that? Okay. Okay. All right.
um,
Yes, this is, yeah.
so yeah, the police took me to Fairfield and put me into a 5150 hold. And yeah, so I was there for 12 hours. I was supposed to have been there for 72, but because I had no business being there, they let me out. And that is the start of the transition to LA.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
While I was living there, also being outspoken about different issues in the cannabis industry, um, around the birthdays of one of the major influencers of the city, I got hit by a car. That's how I got these gnarly scars on my
Mm.
eye. And I just keep thinking back, like, was that supposed to be a birthday present for him? Like,
This was coincidence, right?
I I would like to think so. I
Oh,
like to hope so.
yeah.
Um,
I hopefully that's the idea.
it's just gnarly because I think of myself, and then I think about all the other players that were trying to do stuff within the city that were just like a lady was just mysteriously, her car was parked on the train tracks and she got hit by a car or by the train. Like,
Yeah, we hear those stories on occasion. It's always weird.
and this lady was just the most positive, vibrant, most resourceful person for the homeless community, and the, yeah.
Huh.
So I mean, yeah, that
Okay.
stuff like that kind of forced me out of Vallejo because I really felt like if I had kept, I'm not the type of person to not insert my voice when I see something wrong. So I felt like I could not be in that city because it would hurt me not to be able to be an advocate. And then also stay in that city, being an advocate, I could be risking whatever. So
Yeah.
here I am.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
No, I hope that doesn't make me sound crazy, but
No,
that
no.
is what's happened, and I don't know how else to.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound fun. At all. I guess to say the least.
Oh,
Okay.
bombs dropped.
Okay. So, all right. So you all that was going down. You still wanted to be. You said you were, I guess, on the day to day, you were less involved in film to begin with. So this you had decided that it was time to up and out, and you thought of Los Angeles because I gotta assume you didn't mention this, but coming down for the filmmaking and to refocus up on the creative was the idea.
Yes.
Okay, so you made the jump. You got down here. Yeah, because we have been on set. I think just once together. Was it just a one timer?
I think so, yeah.
And now, yeah, and we've kept in touch, which I think is cool,
Yes.
via Facebook.
Yes.
And yeah, I believe that was like a Mark Hensley production. I haven't had Mark on the show yet. I should get him on the show.
Mark, come through.
And yeah, I forget. I don't even know what I was doing on that set. I feel like I was like an AD, or I don't know what I got going on.
I think so.
Or sound. I don't even know. I don't think I was doing sound. But regardless, you were there. I believe
Yes.
you were like volunteering as, I mean, it was a full volunteer production. It was one of those
Yes.
things. You were there as a PA, maybe?
Yeah, I think I was helping the lady, the redhead. I forgot her name. With the art department and stuff. But yes, also PA.
Okay, just generalized additional hands and help.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So, I know that I've been keeping in touch with you on Facebook kind of since then. You're very good at posting and being open with like stuff that's going on, whether it's kind of like personal life stuff or industry stuff or experiences you're having, the good and the bad. So I've been able to kind of track your growth, which has been kind of fun for me to watch. Um, can you talk about, cause yeah, you're an actor.
Yes.
You're SAG currently?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you reach SAG via background work, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And background work, is that the bread and butter these days still?
For me, yes.
Okay. So what I want to hear about, which is because it's cool, is that trajectory and finally getting that footing and finding kind of like that consistency, because we are talking about consistency.
Hmm.
Uh, in that space and kind of what that has provided you and what you've learned through those experiences and stuff. But I don't know, but at the beginning, how did you, well, yeah, because I feel like you weren't involved in background work as much when we had first met, but maybe you were. I don't recall.
I don't really know. I don't remember. I should know, but I don't remember. So how I've got into background acting specifically, I don't recall.
Let me pause. Sorry to cut you off. I do want to clarify for people at home that are maybe less familiar with background.
Mhm.
We call, okay, so the old term for background was extras. I don't think we use the term extras anymore. It's called background players or background in general. They're the people and so you have your kind of, I guess, I don't know, how would you describe background? Can you do it for me?
I hear the term atmosphere talent dropped quite a bit.
Okay,
Um,
that sounds cool too.
it's yeah, definitely a more advanced or I don't know, beautiful term for it. Yeah, atmosphere talent is what I hear, and that's basically just people filling the scenes to make it look more real, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we have our main talent who are close to the camera having their dialogue, and then they're at an airport or in a coffee spot or the bar. Anyway, any scene in any movie ever
Yeah,
has the world around them living and breathing, and those are all paid actors.
yeah.
And you've been on some cool stuff. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Whew, okay.
So it started with central casting, and I've I'm still with Central Casting. I am forever grateful for Central Casting. And then COVID wasn't a thing, so we would be able to actually go to the office and they would take a headshot photo, a body shot photo, and take your measurements and like 3 different looks. And what happens is the production companies will reach out to Central or the other booking companies and they'll be like, hey, we need a group of people that fit this criteria. And Central will then go into their database and pull up all the people that fit their needs. And production will then be like, yeah, we want this person, and da 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 da. And so that's how that process works. And um, yeah, Central, they have booked me for some of the most amazing roles. Um, and it really is a process. Like, you learn so much every time you go in. Um, Getting the vouchers, I didn't think I got all 3 of my vouchers to join SAG for at least 2 years, 2.5 years. My first one was on Tim Allen's Last Man Standing. That was I cried because it's a lot of work.
You cried in a good way or a bad
Yes,
way?
because it feels so good to be able to get that yellow piece of paper because
Oh, to get the your first voucher?
mm-hmm,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and it's a moment because it's also like not everybody gets them, so it's almost like I don't know how to explain that,
It's like a
but
lottery.
yeah.
You got yeah. Okay. To clarify, in order to join SAG, and there's different ways of joining SAG. One of the ways is collecting these SAG vouchers via
Yes.
doing background work specifically, right?
And there's other ways to get them, but yes, what happens sometimes if there's not enough SAG players on set, like the criteria is there has to be they start with 20 SAG or 24 SAG members, and then beyond that is non union. So if somebody drops that day, a non union can get bumped up to SAG.
Okay.
Or if you're handed a line on set, you'll get a SAG vouchers. And if you have a specialty, you'll get a SAG voucher. There's.
Yeah, it gets tricky and weird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's dive. What I'm curious about too, and I don't know how interesting this may be to you, but I think it's kind of interesting because I've never done. I work in the indie space here. I've been on very few projects where any considerable amount of background come in to fill in scenes, and I myself have done very little background work, and it's normally smaller scale stuff if I am in the background. What is can you run through like a day in the life of so you get hit up by central casting and then take us through like the email that you receive because I know those can be really weird and tricky with
Yes.
they get so specific
Yes.
and the showing up, the checking in. Like I want to hear kind of like the kind of the nuts and bolts nitty gritty of it if you don't mind.
Sure. Okay, so you'll get an availability request. So actually I'm with 2 services. I'm with Central and Book Talent, and they operate kind of differently. With Book Talent, what they'll do is if you have your availability is marked you're available on the calendar, they'll just straight up book you. And they'll send you notifications that you'll be getting details from them or from the production at a later time.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get those details from whoever your service is, it's then your job to find the location that you're supposed to report to, base camp. Sometimes, well, now there's the COVID testing. So before we can even go to set, we'll have to go to like a testing site to do COVID testing, either the nose swab or the mouth swab, whatever. And once you get cleared for that, sometimes you'll have to do COVID training from home, like the health and safety standards on site. Um, and then you'll get your other details, like what costumes to bring. Or if you need to do, like with me, because of my hair texture, if I have to do a scene that requires my hair straightened, it takes like 6 hours. So I have to plan for that the day before. But anyways, you get to set. You'll find your PA. You get checked in. You'll go through hair, makeup, costumes. If you've done,
I was gonna say, can you talk about the what kind of like the weird stuff that comes up in the emails, or like, is it they ask you have to bring your own? You don't have to bring your own I guess it depends on the production too, but
yeah,
I'm trying to imagine like depending on the scene, I don't know if it's expected that you bring different looks or certain
yes,
colors or yeah,
yes.
you mentioned like bring your hair a certain way. Yeah, what other stuff kind of are in those pre-show up as kind of requirements?
Sure. They do prefer you to bring options. Within the details, they'll send you different looks to try to base your look off of what you bring in. So like sometimes or a lot of times in the summer, we'll be filming winter scenes. So we'll bring winter gear in like 80, 90-degree weather. So in that instance, I would recommend people bring fans or sunblock. And because not everybody does. And when they're on set, they're always miserable. So
Yeah, you got to watch out for yourself.
you really
Okay,
do.
yeah.
So yeah, you just got to pay attention to what they're asking of you. Bring as much of it as you can to sets, and they'll ask you to show what you have, and they'll basically pick from what you have. And then if you don't have what they need, they'll pull from their racks. And yeah, usually with period pieces, they'll do fittings before, so then you don't have to bring anything in and you'll just um, bring yourself in and undergarments, and they will get you dressed with what they
Yeah.
have.
Okay, so now you're on set and you're in some sort of holding.
Yes.
What kind of where do you typically what does holding normally look like? What has it looked like?
It can really
Looked
depend.
like looked well.
Yeah, holdings, they really differ between each production. Because at the bottom line, people view background actors as nothing, nada, zilch, not important, the last of anything to be considered. And sometimes that's how holdings reflect. There'll be the bare minimum, there'll be not enough waters, not enough heaters, not enough chairs, not enough tables, not enough crafty. Just but then you can get on some really great sets and they just really spoil you. Um, so, I mean, it just really depends on the production.
What does a spoiled holding look like? What
They have more than enough of everything and they
like
just.
open bar and
Well, I mean, they'll have like a really great, thoughtful, and just an amazing crafty, just accessible for us. And you don't have to do that whole, well, are you union or are you non
oh,
union?
that could be a thing at Crafty?
Absolutely. Yes. If you're non union, stay to your crafty until somebody says you can go to the crafty for crew and union, because crew members more specifically, will frown upon you if you're non union going into.
Into their Crafty.
Yes. I mean, I get it. I get it. They work hard, long hours. They should get the better food, but
uh
I get it.
Sorry. This hurts. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, and then, because I mean, if you're filming in location, there won't always be like canopies to block from the sun, so you'll just be in complete wilderness. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, the more you work the different gigs, you learn different tricks, like to bring your own chair, bring um, magazines, books, personal fans, sunscreen, water, food. Like it's almost like you're going on the survival trip,
Yeah,
basically.
you gotta survive.
You really do. Yeah, so yeah, that's holding. Um,
And then I guess how long are are how much time is spent in holding versus on set doing the thing? Like, how's that ratio kind of
I think, I think,
typically?
yeah, I think it really depends on the person. Like for me, I show up ready to work. Like I purposely position myself by the PAs or closest to the set door so they don't have to go searching for me. And I feel, not to like brag or anything, but I feel just the professionalism that I bring to the set has allowed me to get a lot more featured background positions. Whereas sometimes people will show up with just no care in the world, no hustle, no professionalism, and they'll be sitting and holding for the entire shoot. So you're just really.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I based on how you're describing it, it feels like you can observe the people in the room and be like, "Oh, this person here looks prepared. They've got their this, they've got their this." I don't know if you're like reading a book while you're waiting or like what your standard is.
I normally don't sit.
You're standing.
I literally will just walk around the
Oh,
room,
okay.
pacing, just standing close by. I rarely ever go to crafty. Like I've heard the worst thing that you could ever do on a set is to have them wait for you. So I implement that.
Yeah, sure. I think that's great advice. Um, yeah, we wait on lots of people all the time. That's okay. But yeah, that's weird. All right, okay. So yeah, this person looks prepared. They look like they're ready. They're happy to be here. All that makes you more attractive too. All right, yeah. Let's come to the thing.
Yo,
And then okay, so now you get called to set. How does this go? Cause who are you in communication with? Cause that's a whole tiered weird system that I'm less familiar with, and I have a brief, yeah, I have a slight, I might interject a slight story of my own.
sure.
It has nothing to do with really much of anything, but I'll try not to forget it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so like they'll have sides that the crew is working with for the day, and the sides are basically script pages that are being filmed on that set. And those pages, they have the lead cast um, waiting in their trailers or whatever. And so there will be a second team, which is the stand ins getting the positions and the lighting ready for the lead talent or first team or whatever. And while they're getting set up, the second AD is communicating to the PAs the different background that they need to bring in for the scene. And so the PA will come to the holding area and he'll look through everybody that's in holding and be like, you. And that's basically the start of the day. That would technically be the group for the first shot, first scene, and we would be brought into the stage. We would get our placements. Sometimes we might see a rehearsal with the second team, um, or run through it with the second team. It really depends on the show. And yeah, the first team the main talent will come in, will shoot the scene, and depending on what how they have the flow going, they'll do a couple takes of that first scene and then they'll do a turnaround. And so we, who's already in that shot, will go back to holding, and the PA will go grab a new bunch and bring them in for that turnaround. And yeah.
Okay. And what typically are you doing in the background as background? What are the go-to like I'm assuming that somebody's assigning the business.
Yes.
How does that get divvied, and what are you hoping to receive? Like, what do you want to be? Like, what's the ideal sitch, and then what are the typical common things?
So I think for everybody, the ideal situation is to go from background to co-star. I think that's everybody's, well, not everybody's, but
Sure.
majority's goal. I mean, there's some people that have been working background for 20 years and they're just happy to stay doing background. Um,
And then co-star would mean that you get pulled in for dialogue, or
a regular series regular,
okay, sure.
or
I
yeah.
guess more what I mean is as background when you're working background. Are you? I don't know. I'll just throw up some examples, or I guess maybe just to clarify the question. When you're being assigned stuff to do in the background, what's the ideal situation? Like, do you want
Okay,
to be a crosser? Do you want to be just having a conversation with somebody? Do you want to be like somebody throwing it? Like, I don't know what kinds of things they assign people
sure.
in those circumstances, but I guess yeah.
Again, I think it really just depends on the each person's goal. Like if you don't want to stand out, then people kind of try to hide back in the be as far back from the camera as possible. The real go getters will try to find their way as close to the camera as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a funny group because they get really defensive about their positions and camera placement. and so I try to stay out of their way. But the PA, he usually is giving the directions to the background actors like cross here, go sit here, run there. Um, Communicate or talk with this person. Um, and then sometimes the second AD who is working with the director will have more specific needs. And so they'll go to the background actors and be like, I need you to specifically do this, or I'm going to change this. So I need you to do this. So there's no real, I mean, rarely would you ever see the actual director give background directions.
Yeah, I think they try to not have that. That's like not supposed to happen, is what I
Right.
hear. Like the
Yeah.
DGA actors is not DGA director. It's kind of like a no-no to have them have that. Yeah, I think I've heard stories like that before. Like Michael Bay will try to be like he's like getting upset about something with the background and then be yelling at the background as Michael Bay may do, and then the AD will just be shouting, just echoing the same thing, even though obviously Michael Bay, you can hear him, but per procedure, the AD is also echoing the thing just because that's what we do.
Yeah. So yeah, it really just depends on the person and what they're.
So yeah, I'm asking you, what's your preference?
I'm all over the place. Like I find joy in all the different placements in background. For like most recently on the Seth Rogen shoot, even though I wasn't facing the camera, I was still prominent. And hello, airplane. um, and the scene partner that I had, she was sitting in front of me at this table, and she just could not keep a straight face,
Mm.
just because Seth Rogen's laugh is just so fucking amazing. And so I really enjoy those moments because I then feel like I had to like be like, stay with me, and you have to pantomime, so you can't really talk, and you have to like try to make your actions make sense with the scene, so you're not just like looking some random person doing whatever the hell she
Yeah. So
wants.
do you have what were the specificities on this scene? Do you so what so you're just okay. Yeah.
I mean, I can't really go too much into it because non
Well, I
disclosures.
don't need to hear the specific dialogue, but you and your scene partner in background are needing to be normal people having a normal conversation, not reacting to Seth Rogen's character.
Correct.
Okay, that's more what yeah. And then
Yes.
what was he saying? And I'm just kidding.
I, I
I'm
don't
just kidding.
even know. I honestly I don't even know anything about that scene because I was just so focused on trying to get her to not laugh.
Hmm.
I enjoy that stuff. But then um there was other times where I was booked as just a regular patron, but then I got pulled in to be part of a dance group, and that was that was probably one of the most intimate black scenes I had ever been a part of, and it was just so magical. And it was unexpected, and and I'm not really a dancer, so there's just little stuff like that. There's always unexpected things happening. Crosses suck because you have to really remember where you crossed, how you crossed, at what line you crossed,
Yeah.
and you also have to be aware of the equipment that's around you, the talent.
Is there anybody helping with the continuity of the crosses? Like if you like who's actually having your back on when to go and how to go?
And it's usually the PAs and the second ADs and the second ADs. Sorry, second ADs and the second ADs. I'm getting that all
The
backwards.
PAs and the second seconds and the second
There's
and
a
the
whole team of people.
okay, okay. So it's not the script supervisor.
The script supervisor, from what I've observed, is more continuity of the first team lead actors.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's my understanding as well as a script supervisor. But I've like again, I don't have that the bigger set experience as a script soup. I don't imagine there's a capacity for them to watch both things at once. At 0%. There's too much going on in the background.
there's so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Lovely. Lovely. Okay. Let's switch topics. And then I might come. Oh, my one little story on background, if I may, just so you can make me feel better potentially, is I've been in Los Angeles a little over 3 years now. I have experience like a lot of indie experience. I've self-produced many a short film. I've AD'd many a short film. I've AD'd a feature film. I've script supervised many indie features. I've directed multiple features at this point. 'Cause, I guess rewinding a little bit, I still had essentially that same experience, just a little bit less of it. I remember I had a friend who works as I think she does like seconding or like background PA management specifically, and she was posting that, hey, last minute we need an additional background PA for like tomorrow, like last minute tomorrow, who's down, who's available. And I raised my hand. Well, I responded on Facebook saying, that's like, sounds good. Yeah, I'm sure I could figure that out. I can do that. And then she clarified with me, I was like, have you done it before? I'm like, no, but I have first AD experience managing entire productions. I think I could handle background PAing. And she said, well, she really needed people that had the experience of it. So I didn't get the gig. But I was hoping to land on a set and, have that background PA experience, but I was not given the chance. And I'm like, that was it's kind of weird. I'm like, how can I first AD and be the leader but not handle managing back? Oh, either way, maybe in hindsight, I imagine it's probably the correct call. I don't know how much background there was to manage, but bringing in a newbie and teaching them on the job during like managing 200 people or something, I imagine would not go well. I'd I'd hold up the whole production maybe. But what's your take on my story?
I mean, ah,
She in the right?
I mean, yes and no. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you had extra perspective. You do have a background. You do have knowledge. So, I mean, I imagine you would have been able to assist in some kind of capacity. But I mean,
Some kind of yeah.
but I mean, it is a whole thing background. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Um,
And I feel like I was probably and still am a little bit, which is why I'm digging into like the specificities. Is like, well, yeah, there probably was some ignorance of the process. I'm like, well, I've done other stuff. I feel like I can figure it out, but
I
it's
think
just yeah.
I think you could have done it. It might have just been as small as just not comfortable with. I don't even know. There's so many different factors as to what would have made her say no.
Well, it sounds like to me, if you put, let's say, like if you put yourself in the other person's shoes as that PA pulling people out of background holding, that's almost like a skill of its own. It's like how are they picking people? And they have to do it quickly,
Right.
and they have to wrangle you, and they have to get you to set, and then there's like the go-to moves, and like all right, there's this ability to fill the space properly. There's like all this stuff kind of going on, and if you've never done it before, you might just be like not helpful at all.
See, like I don't know, cause I worked on a set and the uh the PA or whatever. I always get this backwards. He was telling me how he got into his position, and what happened was COVID had shut down his business, and the production came into his business asking if they could use their space, and he was like, "Well, unfortunately, this is shutting down, but can I get a job?" And sure enough,
Okay, they handed him like background PA work.
yeah.
It's nice of them. I could have done it.
So I mean, it
I'm just
might have
kidding.
just came down to the person and how they were
No, no,
feeling.
she's a pro and she does things great, and it's probably a bigger production than like that was probably a. Who knows? I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm just a little still burnt. I'm still a
Don't
little. It's
be.
fine.
It probably had nothing to do with you. Uh,
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh no.
It's just one of those classic things that's never fun, especially in like the film industry. Is everybody's looking for opportunities in
Yes.
positions that they have less experience in. And then there's always the catch 22 of like you need the experience before we'll put you in it, but you need to
Yes.
be in it. And it's just the classics, the
It's a
classic
vicious
thing.
circle.
Every step of the way, essentially,
Yeah.
forever. Okay, so I was gonna switch topics. Um, brought that up. Okay, okay. This is the nice one. This is the big one. Self-producing.
Mm.
I know this is what prompted me to reach out initially was yeah, you posted recently and I wanted to talk about everything. Um self-producing. Let's dig into this recent project of yours. I'll sum it up for people if I may. Just based off Facebook posts alone, at some point, I don't know, you posted about doing a lot of writing, which I think is cool. So I'm trying to, I'll make some posts up too. There's a post about like I've got an idea. There's another post about, oh my gosh, the script is done. And then there's, oh my gosh, I'm 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 casting that I've launched, like I'm casting for my short. I want to shoot it in mid-June. And then you'd talk about, okay, oh, I got a lot of casting submissions and a lot of actors to sift through their reels and all this kind of stuff. It's very exciting. And then you fast forward a little bit and it's like, I'm sad to say the project has been canned and I'm canceling it. So it's self-producing is hard. What shall we talk about?
Okay, so bottom line, I love producing. Like, overall goal, I want to own a studio. I would love to produce. I want to be like a Netflix, Sony, Amazon, all of that. Paramount Plus. Like, I want to
Boo.
do.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Nah,
kidding. I'm just
I
kidding.
didn't say it. I want to do that, and
No, please. Yeah, pick up my movie, Paramount Plus.
like it's like the whole entire process of producing, I love it, but it is such a fucking bitch. Like it is soul draining. You will turn your hair will turn gray. You'll grow wrinkles that you didn't know could fold like that, and but it's just such a thrill from the concept, producing the concept to filling in all the pieces, the casting, the locations, the going back to sounds and your team and just putting all the pieces together of taking that vision into a complete product. I absolutely love it. But when you don't have money or you don't have all the fancy gear and you don't have all the resources that many people have, it is just is incredibly complex and frustrating. Um, I'll start with that.
Okay. So to clarify, let's clarify. Okay, I guess maybe I don't know. It would be interesting for me to hear more about the project specifically
Sure.
that you were aiming to make, and then maybe we can talk about yeah where the hiccups came and I don't know, just yeah, if that sounds kind of fun to me.
Okay.
If you're down for
So,
it.
the script actually started as a writing prompt. Somebody had reached out to me asking to write a sci-fi short, took place in one location, minimal characters. And that's how I came up with Modified. Modified takes place in a classroom, 3 characters, and it is sci-fi. And she revealed to me more parameters after I had showed her the script. And I'm just like, well, this isn't going to be useful for you, so I'm just going to keep it for myself and make it a proof of concept for a pilot. And after that, I started going into casting. Um, Casting was basically what shut this project down. Um,
How many? Three cast members?
mhm.
Okay.
I was never able to fully or successfully cast the main character. It called for an African American male, 40-ish, and I think I went through 2 different people, and I just couldn't get the professionalism out of them to be able to actually confirm that we would be shooting or let alone doing a table read. And then aside from that character, the other lead characters, the actors for that would go back and forth on their availability. And so, um, I mean, while doing casting, I was doing storyboards, shot lists, getting ready for props. I had done special effects tests because there's a scene or there's a moment within the script where somebody gets a scratch. So I was working on that. I had found a location and they had agreed to go down $250 in the cost. It's like I was ready to go, but casting just couldn't get it together.
All
That
right. Yes. Okay. Whew. Let's see. All right. Um, 3 actors. Had you attached any crew yet, or what was the plan with crew?
I had there was 2 ladies that had reached out to me. Had never met them before, but they had reached out and expressed interest in helping with the crew. I had another cat come through and expressed interest.
You say a cat?
Sorry, another person,
Just kidding.
another gentleman. He came through and offered assistance, and we were having really great conversations. And he just stopped responding.
The crew person.
hmm
Okay.
And so I don't know. Like these were going to be paid roles. Everybody was going to be paid at least a minimum um, for non-union, and it was going to be just a one-day shoot, 8 a.m. to 6 with a hard out by 6:30. Um, in,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I don't.
no,
Yeah.
in my head it just made sense. Like we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, for some reason, just couldn't get it together.
Yes. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I can be helpful here in my cause, I mean, you've produced stuff before.
Yes.
Um, was this? I guess just for clarification, is this on a higher scale up? Like you're trying to level up a little bit with this one, right? Like you were reaching outside of your own bubble to try to pull people in, and you wanted to pay people. I think you're going SAG on this one too.
It would have been
Okay,
non-union.
non-union.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but you wanted to do it. Yeah, you're respecting people's time. You're trying to
Yes.
give what you can and communicating all of that. It's difficult. Oh, okay. Um, Great. Yeah. So I empathize, very much so, because I've experienced that plenty of times myself as well. Which I reach out on occasion. I'll respond to the comments. I'm like, I feel ya. I feel ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, people not being good with coordinating and responding, or there was even an issue. I remember. I don't know if this is tied to the same short, but you were talking about how you'll be reaching out to gauge interest from, I don't know, we'll just say crew. Like you're reaching out to see like who's interested in being a part of the crew or whatever. And then people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm interested. Can you send me some details?" And then you send them details, and then you never hear back. Or it's like, "Where'd you go? I thought you were interested. Are you, hey, what thoughts?" And then ghosted, or like I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was related to this project. That was more so yeah, a few people I had sent it to, like casting directors, and I would send it to them, and they was like, "Yeah, I could send this to this person. They would be great for this," and I'd never hear back. Or just like script readers. And this, I guess it was kind of in general. Like, there'd be times where I had send scripts to people to read for feedback, and they just never say anything back. So
Yeah.
there's a combination
That
of the ghosting in many different scenarios.
yeah, that happens a lot too. I know it's even being on the other end of it with being sent something to read, it
Mm.
is hard to follow through with finding time to read it. And I mean, even when with best intentions, it's just yeah. So it happens a lot. Like I know that I've talked up with some directors I've worked with. I'm like, I just wrote like the best script I've ever written in my life, and I want to make this feature, but I don't even know if this is good. Can you like? And they're like, yeah, send it my way for sure. I'm happy to read it. I normally don't read stuff for people. But for you, yeah, for sure send it over. And then a year later, I'm like, oh, they never read it. I don't know. Which is
Yeah.
fine. Which is fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
That's why I tell people, like, you can send it to me, but I probably won't read it because I am a horrible reader.
and if I do, be very thankful.
Yes, it's because it's hard when you're a writer yourself. I can't. I mean, I could read somebody's script and I could critique it, give notes, whatever. You should like consider that, consider taking that out, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you are still going to be slightly influenced, and I don't want that. I don't want to write. I don't want to read my friend's script and then 4 months down the road I'm starting to write something,
Oh,
and then like
You're pulling ideas from their thing, kind of thing.
I do feel like I mean I do feel like personally I can be easily influenced. And so I see it with my when I read my father's scripts. There'll be times where he's talking about stuff, and then I'm just thinking like, "Oh shit, did I do something like that? Am I pulling from him?"
It's okay to pull. It's okay. It's
No.
totally that's everybody everywhere all the time is getting influence from the art they consume, stuff they see, conversations they hear. We're
It's
all
true.
pulling from something, but I understand that I think it's a good exercise in general to, I guess, acknowledge like, oh, I literally am pulling this joke from my friends. Like you don't want to do stuff like that,
No,
but it's okay to have certain themes overlapping because there's only so many stories to tell. We're
that's
like,
true.
oh, my friend was all. 'Cause that's happening to me right now, kind of. Like I'm prepping to do like a short next month, and I script supervise, so I work with other directors on supporting them with their projects. And it's kind of been like a bigger theme as of late, but been a lot of there's been a few projects with like a younger female lead who's who's dealing with like kind of more of like the man power dynamic on her,
Mm,
either with either if it's like for lack of a better term, like daddy issues where she has issues with her dad, and then she'll project him on like other characters too, or like grooming stories with men trying to control young impressionable women. Um, so like I'm telling a similar story like that too. It's a catharsis piece where a woman is coming to the realization of all the avenue she's been led down that she didn't want to go down,
mm.
and then I'm trying to pull for some like nice moments that happen. I'm like, well, how do I sit? Like I really want this to come across in this way, and I'll think about how do these other ones do it. Okay, I don't want to do it like them, but like how did they do it?
Right.
And then at least knowing like, yeah, you don't want to, yeah. That could almost help you steer into another new direction and do it differently too. But
That's true.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's trying to hide from reading people's stuff so you don't steal it. Ah. But I guess for you, sure. If you
Ah,
find yourself writing the same script right after reading one, then maybe.
I mean, I don't know if that happens because I don't read other people's scripts.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
precaution.
All right. So I'm thinking about what current thoughts are you having or lessons are you taking away from this recent experience, or are you looking to gear up to do something different, or how are you flipping the script, if you will, on.
So I don't know, like, so I'm still kind of figuring it out at this point because this film is not my first film to not be successfully produced within the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, before going into this, I had this thought like, well, I'm just not going to produce at all. If I don't have the proper budget, if I don't have the proper crew, like if I don't have the things that you essentials to really make even just a basic film, I don't want to do it. Um, my father was really gun ho about me doing this production, as I gave it a shot and it didn't work out. So now I'm just kind of thinking I'm going to go back to my original thought of just not produce anything, just keep writing, submit my writings to competitions, um, try to put together a package of the different scripts I have, like pitch decks,
Mm-hmm.
trailers, anything, and just try to push that out there, but at the same time, try to put more emphasis on acting. I think that's what I'm gonna head towards.
Okay, copy that. So I guess this was a question that I kind of had when I was forming my notes for today, but I forgot to ask. Is yeah, what is the dream? Is
Like,
yeah.
yeah, ultimately to own a studio, like Tyler Perry, because he has his own
So
studio.
producing is the dream.
Yeah, he does the acting, the writing, producing, directing, has the studio. That's the ultimate.
He's a force.
He is.
Okay. So all right. So you want to be the showrunner, producer. Do you envision yourself continuing to act once you've
Absolutely.
hit that road too? Okay. Still showing up as the actor. Okay. Writer,
Yes.
director.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'll even jump in on set deck.
No. Let other people. Come on. Leave some jobs for some other people. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Delegating. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I'm sure you have powerful visions on the art side that you can communicate to your production designer and art director for sure.
Yes. I'll stay out of the way, but yes.
Yeah, stay out of the way, but here's all my opinions. Okay, I
Exactly.
gotta go do this other thing. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm thinking for sure. I know I guess I feel like sharing my producing approach. I don't know if I've even. I don't because I try not. Here's what I don't want to. I don't want to be the because this happens to you on Facebook a lot, and I don't want to. I don't want to do this. So I'll ask you: is it cool if I share my? I don't want to. What's the word called?
Mansplain.
No, not even mansplain. It's called like when somebody gives you advice, but you're not even asking for advice. You're just like posting a thing, and then people swarm your things with like, "Well, you should try. Have you tried this? And you should try this, and
Yes.
do this." That's called unsolicited advice.
Yes.
So I'll just share my story and how I go thing, and it's not an advice section. It's just how does Eddie produce? Because let's just say like I don't know if you saw, I posted a picture recently. I directed a 1 day short a few days ago. And I feel like my issue is I don't feel like I've been taking many risks when I produce stuff lately in a way like it's risky in certain ways and it's got its tried and true method built in. But I feel like this 1 day short, it came together because I had an actor friend that was desperate to act and I loved working with him. And yeah, he was like, if I don't act in something soon, I'm going to die. Like kind of like half joke. And I'm like, dude, you want to act? Yeah, let's find the day. And then I hit up my cinematographer buddy that's donated his time to a few shorts, and we got our track record together. And I was like, hey, so and so is down to act. And is there any way that you want to do like a 1 day fun thing sometime? And he's like, yeah, with that guy and you, yeah, for sure, let's do it. So then what I try to do is I try to create my little core, like creating the core of who's most important to be there, and then finding a date with just those as few people as possible. Main talent, cinematographer, and me. As long as the date works for us three, and then I guess I had to find a location for us too. So maybe like 4 pieces to the puzzle. Is it good for location, camera, actor, and me? And then I wrote a script just to be 2 people. I'm like, okay, all I have to do is find a scene partner for this guy and that's down to come out for free and work with me. Because this is just a for fun day, so I'm not even paying people.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, I got the date, and then I go from there. It's helpful. I wasn't attached to the material because I wrote it so quickly.
Right.
It was just helpful too because you're not married to it, and it kind of takes some weight off. Um, so then, cinematographer asks like, well, to do this the way that we want to do it, cinematographers are always asking for help. How dare they? It's help with lighting or help with the camera itself, like pulling focus. It's super helpful. If it takes a lot of weight off the cinematographer to give them help. So I reached out to a friend that has shot some stuff for me and some other friends, and she was down to come out and work with him, and was super stoked about that. And then I had some other friends that were, yeah. So I guess I'm kind of cheating and I'm reaching out to people that I already know are looking for something to kind of just hang around and do stuff with. Um, but I guess like the main point is I normally have that little bit of core and then I'm flexible and chill with who comes around that core. So when I'm thinking about like your thing, it sounded like the cast was the biggest, like you needed this guy to work out and you had a location already. So you had the location, you had you, and then the cast was bigger than my cast. Like it was three. Like I'm so scared of casting. I'll tell you what. Availability is hard to wrangle. The longer the project, the harder it gets. So like the three features I've done, the biggest cast is like four people. It's like four-person cast for a feature. Um, so I'm casting scares me. So keeping that as chill as possible, and then like you're doing the 1 day thing too. Something like that. It sounds, yeah, I can,
See,
but yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah,
Like, that's the ideal. Just like, hey guys, I have this location. I'm gonna be here this day. Who could come in? Let's do something. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I wish that could happen. I mean, just recently, there was 1 week where I had 5 conversations of the same thing. Like, okay, guys, we all have the same energy. We have the same goal. We all want to make
mm.
movies. We want to do this. So when are we gonna meet? And every conversation ends like that. When are we gonna meet? How are we gonna
And
meet?
where do you meet these people? Who are these people? Are these friends you make during background work, or
They're mainly from background work, or like I've met a few people through Zoom conversations, different Zoom events. Like I'm such an introvert, but I'm so wanting to get into this business that I make myself an extrovert.
yeah,
And like wherever I'm at, I try to meet somebody because I really believe that if you have a tribe and that you're consistent, you can everything will just be endless for you. Um, yeah.
yeah? I will say again, those experiences are all too common. Like before I moved to LA, I was doing short films in Reno
Mm.
with the community and wrangling people for that. And I know it was always difficult bringing new people into the spheres. Like a lot of people just in life will speak out about their dreams and be convincing about it too. Is like this is what I want to do. And yeah, like or like even go as far as let's just say that like to have lunch with me or something is like okay, yeah, you're interested, let's grab lunch, let's talk about it. And then I'll grab lunch with them and pull out like kind of almost like what's the dream? You want to act or you want to be camera or like which direction do you want to go? And I want to help you get there. Is how I look at it. And then when a short comes around, like back in Reno days or whatever, I'm like, hey, you said you're down to like help with camera or learn some camera stuff or just be on set in general in any capacity to help. And they don't show up. Like,
Exactly.
yeah. So that it's all too common. I think I've diagnosed it as fear
Mm.
because I mean we've all been on the other ends too. Like especially like I feel very introverted as well as like my core. So having the energy to step out and do something you've never done before that you want to do because you don't want to fail, all that kind of stuff builds up, and people get scared and shy away when the opportunity comes to their door. It's hard to answer the call.
I just don't get it.
Right.
I guess I think it's just a person has to have a hunger for it. I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta sift through all of those people that are not gonna show up. Like well, as soon as they're flaky on yeah, I mean, if if you're talking to an actor and you're like, I think you're great, I saw your demo reel and I would love to have you as the lead actor in my short and I'm just really excited about it. And they're like, oh my gosh, you like me and you want to work with me? And then as soon as they don't make themselves available to you, then you know they're not serious and they don't buy into it and you can let them go. Move on
Right.
to the next person. But yeah, it takes energy to do that too. You're like, ah.
I take
I
it
mean,
personal.
well, yeah, because you're putting yourself out there.
Hmm. So that's kind of why I've just been shying away from producing until I have the resources, because I really invest all of me into anything that I try to do. Even if I'm volunteering for somebody, like I don't drive, so I literally have to plan. It's an adventure getting to set. Sometimes it takes like 2, 3 hours to get to the set, and when I get there, I'm 100% there for them.
Hmm.
And so like when I try to go and produce something and I don't get that energy back, it's just like fuck me.
Well,
Like
just not your fault. It's not. I'm saying right. It's not you. You are the one. You're looking for other people like you, and it is difficult to find those people. That's so hard. Like I,
yeah.
I mean, I know I've been in the biz for when I've been practicing wrangling people for I don't know 8 years or something now, maybe more. I don't know. And it's a skill. It's a craft. It's learned, and
Yes.
you can tell. Yeah, you can probably tell at first conversation. Let's get on the phone and talk, or let's text and talk. And as soon as
Yeah.
you can kind of feel the vibe early, and you'll learn when to jump out sooner than later before you've.
Yes. It was my first group email with the initial full cast. Like
Mhm.
the responses just wasn't happening. So I was like, look guys, like we can make this as good as you make this. And I'm going to put in as much effort as you put in, and if this is what you're going to give, well then I'm just going to it's done. Like
Yeah,
I can't work with nothing.
yeah, you're not being inspired back with passion from their ends. Yeah, you got to feed into each other to really make a project work.
Yes.
Oh, oh,
Sorry if this is triggering in any
no,
way.
it's great. No, no, it's just I feel it 100%. Yeah, okay. Um, yeah. Let me just okay. I was almost gonna change the subject, but let me see. I think I have a other thing to say about the same thing here. Directing. Board member. I'm whispering into the mic here. Uh,
Strangers in the night.
okay. I think. All right. How do you? Let me kind of. You gotta mention this. I was gonna. All right. I'll ask you a different question. You made a comment. This is mostly I'm pulling from Facebook here, but the industry is competitive.
Yes.
How knowing that it's competitive, how do you approach it? Such a vague question.
Like I mean, it goes with I mean everything. Even with background, is so competitive. I've noticed that one of my best friends, my longest friend in LA, she and I go back and forth in casting. Like if I don't get the role, she gets the role. And I don't know why they do it, but um, just in film production and everything, like we are all replaceable, and we all are fighting for the same opportunity, the same job within the same companies, within the same platforms. And there's only so many gatekeeping eyes to let in the chosen people. And so trying to find your niche and trying to find the way to get your brand out there in front of all the other people that are just as good as you are, it's so damn challenging. And I think what makes it competitive is our mindsets, not so much the products that we put out. Like just yeah, like there's some of the people that I follow on Facebook I've never actually met, but their game is just so fucking strong. And they don't have any more resources than I have. It's just their how they lay out what they do and the energy that they put behind it, they just stand out so much. And to uh, try to like I don't even know. It's it's a game. It's a big chess game, this business, and every day I wake up trying to figure out like what can I do different to stand out
Mm-hmm.
and be in with the competition. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, again, just harkening back to talking background work, it feels like you're doing everything in your power and in your control to position yourself for success. And from an outside eye, to me, it feels like you've like cracked the code on that, and you understand how to be successful in that field. Which you don't feel the same way?
No, because I mean even though since I've joined SAG, I feel like even though since the time that I've started, I've gotten more featured roles, there's still there's still bad sets on days.
Bad days
And
on set, yeah.
yeah, and word of mouth carries fast. And a lot of the people that work on one show, they travel to another show. So like I could have an off day on set and that could piss off the costumer, and that costumer could travel to another show the next day, and there I am, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I remember you."
Gotcha.
And so like from there, if they decide to be like, look, to the second AD, don't bring that person on set because she's an asshole, and that second AD has a bad moment with me, they can go to Central and be like, you know what? Don't ever bring this person back to set. And then if Central's like, you know what? This was bad, so we're never going to book you again. So, I mean, every day is a risk. Even though I could go in with the best
Yeah.
intentions and do the best job that I could still do something wrong in some kind of way, and that would be it.
Okay, so it almost feels like all the eggs are in one basket kind of thing, where one mistake you lose everything. Because yeah, being that there are the limited casting people, casting agencies. You said you're with two.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Yes. Okay. I guess I would flip. I don't know. This isn't very hard.
Like for like I had been
Okay.
blessed to be able to stay working background, not so much during COVID, but once everything started opening up, it was impossible to get into background roles. What they were doing was they were bringing in people that they knew not so much that they could trust, but they knew that was vaccinated or that they knew was okay with testing all the time. So the roles were very limited.
Yeah, they kept the little. Yeah, they're trying to bubble up the background industry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't remember where I was going with that, but yeah.
Okay, what I was gonna say was I could offer the like. Okay, what I don't know. I approach things. I don't know. Like when you come to set and you're prepared and you are having a good day, that same day ripples across all the people the same way that having a bad day does. Or does
Yeah.
yeah, with like the costumers like, "Oh my gosh, Jessica was like the easiest person that came through, such great energy, loved working with her." Like those great words come out as well, but I guess
Yes.
yeah, it can it yeah, if you feel like you're walking on gee, there's so many meta okay. You know, walking on eggshells, walking on ice, thin ice. Yeah, if yeah,
it
if you feel like you're being run by fear, that's not a yeah, by like trying not to mess up versus trying to do a good job is different mentalities for sure.
yes.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't knowing your dream, I know I would be happier to know that I'm sure there's no way you're not going to try producing something again sometime soon. I feel like
Absolutely not.
absolutely,
Absolutely not.
absolutely not to trying to produce something again soon.
Correct.
What? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You're too hungry for it. But
I mean, I know I could do it and I do have the passion for it, but it just makes me absolutely crazy not being able to control the things that I can't control.
well, that's
I
we're all,
I can't I can't force anybody to come to set. I can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do,
mhm.
especially if they're not under contract. And
Even if they are under contract.
well, like, if they're under contract and I'm paying, I'm gonna do everything that I can to get what I need
Sure, sure.
legally.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen big actors drop out of contracts 2 days before we shoot. Like that stuff still happens too.
And like, so I guess I just don't know. Like, I want to produce. I know I can do it, but I just don't want to do it with people that have not that same, that just don't want to be there to win it.
You just want to be with good people.
Yes.
Nice, kind people that are there for the right reason,
Yes.
that appreciate what you're doing, that you appreciate their craft. Yeah, a set, we'll call it just a loving environment.
Yes.
Yes.
A loving, productive environment. That's like,
That could be, yeah. Yeah, we can curate that.
I mean, that's like, I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you're, it's almost like you're building a family. And I mean, I have my father and other family members, but there's a bond that you get when you're producing something. And I think that in itself is why anybody should go into producing a film. It's just the bond that you get with the different people and through the process, and then being able to see it when it's finished. Like, ugh,
No, it's
there's no other feeling.
speaking my language. Speaking my language. I
I mean,
agree.
yeah,
Preaching,
so I
preaching to
could
the choir.
never stop producing, but for right now, nah.
Taking a break.
Yes.
Copy that. Copy that. For mental health purposes.
Yes. That's
Uh,
another topic we could
that's
talk
a whole
about.
topic. We're winding down here. We have to have another session sometime. I do want to ask quickly. You shared your background on Thor: Love and Thunder. Is that true story?
Yes.
Can I hear about that? What can you say about that? I know Marvel is secretive, but that was out
Man.
here in LA.
Yes, yes. Big Thunder
Love
was
and Thunder.
whatever.
I was like,
See, I
Big
still
Thunder.
haven't seen a majority of the Marvel films.
That's
Uh,
fine. Big
Fun
Thunder.
fact, before getting onto that, when Thor initially came out, just for the hell of it, no rhyme or reason, I would always troll Chris Hemsworth. I'd just be like, so in his Facebook feeds or whatever, whenever he would post something, I would just be like, so where's Batman? Where's Batman?
Hmm.
I don't know why I did it, but to be able to go onto set knowing that that's what I was behaving like.
You're like, sorry, Chris Hemsworth. I love you.
It
I still love you.
it was fun. But it was a fun experience. He's super tall, super professional. Mm, I can't really talk too much about it, but
Can we know what you were playing
I was a nurse.
on a different planet or Earth?
I'll never tell.
Copy that. So you
um,
went through makeup. They turned you purple. That's very cool.
mm, it was a very interesting scene. It lasted all day. It was for one scene, and I don't know if they'll get it into the story because I think it was part of their reshoots or additional.
Yeah, some sort of additional photography of some kind or
Yeah,
pickup or well, yeah.
but for whatever it was, Chris rocked it, and it's a very impactful moment.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yes.
I It's my dream to be working on Marvel sets. So being that you got to experience it makes I'm like, you get to see Thor in person in costume. It's so
Man,
cool.
not just Thor, a few of the others.
Who was there? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So there was
Uh-uh.
Loki, and there was. All right.
Yes. I'm really anxious for another project. It's supposed to be coming out in a few months. I think that, which I cannot say the title.
Jeez Louise. The secrecy stuff. I can't deal
Ugh.
with it. I can't deal with it. If you're involved in my thing, please tell everybody about it. Like, just tell them what the scene was. I don't care. But
Man,
when yeah, I guess if I'm directing Marvel, it's different. But either way, sorry, you're in this other thing you can't say anything about.
but it was just that was the most featured. That and For All Mankind. For All Mankind is coming out June 10th.
I've been seeing posters and stuff. Yeah.
That was my first like featured background role in the season that's coming out. I don't know if they kept it, but there's a moment where the lead actor goes off book and he just screams at me. And it was such an epic moment. And I really hope they kept that in this coming up.
Yeah.
But my character, even though it's just background, it was kind of an official background character for one of the lead actors and in his little group.
Okay, I dig that. Yeah.
And so that's yeah.
Yeah, kind of remind. Yeah.
And then the other one that's coming out in a few months, like people can go so far doing background acting, and one of the main reasons why I do it is because I hope to make connections to be able to be a better producer. Um,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
yeah,
I feel like you could almost. Yeah, I don't know. Background acting is so hard. I mean, like you're saying, like every set, I gotta imagine. Like you kind of pointed out your SAG background now,
yes,
so your higher tiered background than those non-union the backgrounds, but still, like you're kind of saying crew can look down on background. Everybody can kind of, so it's kind of the 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 deck is a little bit stacked against on building that connection. But once you cross that bridge, yeah, there's everybody's right there. Chris
yes.
Hemsworth's right there. Network with him. Get him into your short. Some stuff could happen easy.
It's crazy. Like there be times where people say, "Don't look at the actor, don't talk to the actor," but the actor will be like right there. There was another shoot that I was on. Frickin' Carrie Ellis, the Princess Bride guy. Um, you never saw Princess Bride?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with it.
Oh dear.
I'm familiar. I don't feel like I've ever seen it
Oh no, you
because
gotta
of the
watch
title.
it. It's a
It's a
classic.
classic. Okay, so he.
He was there and he was just hanging out in different areas of the background area, this living legend. And he
There's,
was
yeah,
kind of making himself approachable.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what's going with that, but
Well, you were talking about bridging the gap, but in
yeah,
communications across
yes,
background.
they will make themselves accessible to you. Not all of them. There's been times where there's some actors that are just completely unpleasant to be around, but like Octavia Spencer, she is probably her and uh Cam McCarthy.
Uh,
Kathy McCarthy? No, Melissa McCarthy.
yeah, I was gonna say Jessica McCarthy for Friends, but
Those two actresses have been the by far the most approachable and nice, caring, compassionate actresses I've ever seen on set. Like they will talk to you. Melissa McCarthy asked me if I needed water or anything like that, and it's like they if
yeah,
you have
just little things. Yeah,
yeah, I feel like if you spent enough time on set, like doing stand in, you could ask, you could catapult your career in all different kinds of directions just by being on set and having a good attitude and yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. That's lovely. It's a good note.
Yes.
Yeah, I had so much stuff left on my docket for us to talk about, but I feel like that's our time,
Okay.
and I think we did a great job. Thanks for chatting about. I guess maybe. Okay, we talked about what's coming next and what you want to do. You want to focus on the acting. You want to focus on the writing, and yeah, make some gains there, and then we'll see when the jump back in. And yeah, for now, I understand what you're feeling.
Like, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
try to produce projects where I act in it myself. And I'll do the camera and I'll do it all. But it's not the same
no, you
as,
wanna you wanna have that loving environment with other creatives that are also passionate about what they're doing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah, cool. For so I think that's our show. For those that want to keep up with you, where's the best place to keep up with Jessica Brown and everything going on?
Oh, good question. I always get this backwards. Instagram, JB period media. California Filmmakers Network if you're in California. That's on Facebook. Um, yeah. Instagram in there, Facebook.
Sounds great. All right. Well, again, thanks for being here and
Thank you.
chatting through. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.